So we finally got the full chapter spoilers for chapter 73 of Boruto. And just to be clear, we're going to go over the entire summary of the chapter in this video, but I won't be posting any of the pictures or any of the picture leaks in this video because I don't think we need to risk getting a copyright strike over this chapter because none of that happens really. But we're going to go over it in the chapter summary. And just to clarify one more thing, when I say we got the full chapter spoilers, what I mean is that we got all the spoilers that were put out for this chapter. Not that we got the entire chapter spoiled. So we're gonna actually wait until the chapter comes out to get the actual full chapter so we can enjoy it in its entirety. We're just gonna go over the bits and pieces that we got from Abdul on Twitter, so you guys can go check him out as well if you guys really need to see the picture leaks. But you know what, let's get into this. The title of this chapter is Special Mission because that's basically what this entire chapter is about, which is why we don't really need to see picture leaks. But there are some key details that I think we need to look into. We're gonna get into that later on in the video. But yeah, this is the actual summary of the chapter, so let's get into it. So basically it says here that in the Hokage office you can see Team 7, Shikamaru, Sumire, and Konohamaru. Shikamaru gives everyone an update on what transpired in relation to Code, Amado, and Ada. Shikamaru informs everyone that Amado was kidnapped and as a result he had to take Code's limiters off in order to survive. He further elaborates that Ada has cut ties with Code and is headed straight for Konoha. Therefore, Shikamaru has a new mission for Team 7 titled Room Sharing. And we're gonna get into that later on in the video, trust me. So it also says that Shikamaru has told Boruto and Kawaki to move in with Ada as her powers do not work on Otsutsukis or someone who has transformed into an Otsutsuki. Both Boruto and Kawaki are shocked to hear this mission. Meanwhile, Ada, Amado, and Damon are on the same train on their way to Konoha. And as they are traveling, Ada is able to use her Senringan to listen to the conversation Shikamaru is having with everyone in the room. As soon as Shikamaru mentioned room sharing, Ada began to blush just from the idea of being in the same room as Kawaki. Shikamaru then tells Kawaki that Ada is in love with him, and as soon as Ada heard that, she started to blush and her heart started pounding at a high rate. So much so that Damon, whose head was rested against Ada's chest, woke up immediately and questioned Ada as to why her heart is beating so rapidly. Sarada then intervenes and elaborates that the core of the mission is surveillance. While living with Ada, they are supposed to keep an eye on her and her behaviors. Shikamaru then says that's right, and he further elaborated in order to find Code and defeat him, it is very important for us to maintain a good relationship with Ada. However, Shikamaru warns Team 7 to be extra wary of Ada's abilities. The scene then switches to Sasuke and Naruto, who are on top of the Hokage building. They are discussing Shikamaru's plan to cohabitate Boruto, Kawaki, and Ada together. Then suddenly Kawaki notices Momoshiki standing beside Boruto, and Sasuke also senses Momoshiki's presence, as he had experienced in a similar feeling back in chapter 10 when Boruto defeated Momoshiki. On the last page of this chapter, we see a small flashback to chapter 10 in which Sasuke is shown to be looking at Momoshiki via his Rinnegan. And basically that's all that happens in this chapter. Now, as I said earlier, we're gonna get the full chapters a few days from now. I think it's on the 20th of this month. So, of course, there can be additional context to what we just discussed. But personally, I don't think anything that happens in the full context of the next chapter is gonna be anything that changes what we just read according to the summary of the chapter. I think everything is very straightforward. I don't think anything's deep about what's happening. I don't think that we need any more context to the situation. But, of course, you guys should support the original creators. So go on Manga Plus or Viz or wherever the chapter is released and read the chapter. And of course you're gonna get to see the paneling and the drawings and all that lovely stuff. So of course there is additional incentive to read the actual chapter when it comes out, and I recommend that you do it. But let's proceed in my thoughts on the spoilers. Now obviously most of this chapter is just Shikamaru explaining what we as the audience already know to the characters in the show. Like, they weren't aware of this before and now they are aware. Now normally what they do is just explain it to the characters off screen, but in this chapter they went a different route in which they had the actual characters react to the information live on screen so we can see their reaction and shit, right? Now obviously there isn't much happening in this chapter in regards to reaction based on the summary, and of course we might see some other context to the characters, maybe a facial expression here and there to say that, oh, we're surprised about this information or we're worried or something. Right? So we might get some additional context in that sense. But overall, this is just Shikamaru talking. That's basically what the chapter is. We also got some other information as well that we need to go over. Now, the room sharing aspect of this chapter is very weird to me. Now obviously what they're gonna do is put Boruto and Kawaki in the same room as Ada. Now when they say the same room, I don't think they're gonna be in the same room as in a bedroom. Obviously they mean like they're gonna be in the same housing situation, right? So Boruto has his own room, Kawaki has his own room, but they're in the same building as Ada, you know? So they can keep an eye on Ada, and Ada can't manipulate them since they have Otsutsuki DNA. So we'll see how that plays out. Personally, I don't think Ada is gonna go with any plan that restricts her movement. You have to remember that Ada doesn't really like taking orders from anyone. And she has the ball in her park. She makes the decisions, right? She has the upper hand in every situation right now. Like, she has the ability to control anyone, and she also has the most powerful character in the show right now on her side. Well, on her back, but you know, same thing. So she has Damon, who basically does anything she wants him to do, and she has the ability to just control anyone who is not an Otsutsuki. Like, Kawaki and Boruto, they're not Otsutsuki, but they're no threat to Damon at their current level. Like, Damon would mop them, right? I'm just being honest. So like, Ada has no reason to like take orders from Shikamaru, saying that, yo, we're gonna keep an eye on her to monitor her abilities, we're gonna restrict her movement and all that jazz. This is just a mission. I don't know why he decided to say this stuff out loud, right? You know, like, maybe he doesn't care if Ada knows that this is just like his ruse to like keep her under control or whatever to get to code. Like, I don't know why that would be his plan, because I think what he'd want to do is actually play along and just make her feel as if she's welcomed, you know, like they're not trying to get one over on her, they're not trying to use her, you know, try to get her on their side, you know. And a good way to do that is not to outright say your plan, like when you know that she has the ability to just hear what you're saying, you know, and see what you're doing, you know. Like, he has Ino, he could have just called Ino and said, okay, cool, we're gonna have like a mental link conversation, similar to what he did with Amado, where they could have explained the plan inside, you know, over the telepathic link or whatever, and Ada wouldn't have known, because Ada can't listen to those conversations as we've seen in chapter 71 or chapter 70, right? So I think that would have been a better option to do, as the like, aside from like just doing it out in the open. Like, it's just weird, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't care, who knows, maybe he has like a grand plan that we don't know about, but or maybe he's just hoping that Ada is just like an idiot. Like, maybe that's what he's hoping, but I doubt it. Like, Ada has her moments, and people kind of think that Ada is just like, oh, she just loves Kawaki, that's her entire personality, yada yada yada. Like, stop. Ada's entire personality is shown to us as her being in love with Kawaki. She wants to get to know him, but obviously that's not gonna be her entire motivation in the end game. Like, obviously she has like a main plan that she's trying to like complete, and maybe she needs Kawaki's help to do so, right? To just assume that her entire personality is just to fall in love with Kawaki and live her life out like as a princess or whatever, that's nonsense, you know? Come on, like, you guys know Tobi from Naruto, you know, everyone thought the same thing. He was an idiot, giggling and all that jazz. Then he just took off the mask and he's one of the most badass dudes in the series, right? Come on. Like, don't get tricked by this again, please. Let's just wait and see how it plays out. I think Ada is definitely a good addition to the series. I actually believe that, but we'll see. Now, it seems that my mic is doing some weird shit, so I might fix it in post, but if I don't, you guys, you know, just know that I'm aware of it. I'm gonna work on it. I don't know what's happening here. It's weird. But basically, my thoughts are that it's a weird room situation that I don't think is gonna work out, because Ada is not gonna want to be confined. That's what I believe, but maybe she will be, you know, who knows? We'll see. That Sasuke Renegon thing, it's kind of weird that he's able to sense Momoshiki's chakra and Naruto can't. But, you know, we'll see how they explain that. Maybe they will, maybe they won't, you know, but, you know, this is Boruto. Anything's possible. All in all, guys, you know, these are my thoughts on the spoilers so far. We're gonna go in depth when you actually get the full chapter, and we do a full chapter review, of course. But if you guys like the video, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.